Hello everyone, thank you for providing your time to watch my conference video for second Kuala Lumpur International Conference on Management, Education and Technology. My name is Karen Chelsea from School of Business Management, Institut Teknologi Bandung, and in this video, I'm going to present my research with the title of The Impact of Social Media Marketing on Instagram Towards Brand Equity of Fashion, Micro, Small, and Medium Enterprises. Are the contents of this presentation, starting with introduction. It is undeniable that brand is a key to one's marketing success. It acts as a differentiation tool and gives a reason why the company's offering is the best choice compared to others. Commercial value from how people perceive and feel when faced with a brand is referred as brand equity. However, brand equity can be in the form of either assets or liabilities. When it acts as an asset, brand equity can bring competitive advantage to the business. Now in the era of digitalization, social media usage, specifically for business usage, has been increasing. Many businesses, including micro, small, and medium enterprises, have started to use social media to communicate their brands. Micro, small, and medium enterprises are one of the most important contributors to Indonesia's macroeconomy, as it takes up to 99.9% of business units in Indonesia. In 2020, 42% of Indonesian micro, small, and medium enterprises have joined digital platforms and has been facing an increase of sales. Most of the sales are generated by fashion goods, which are the number one goods to be purchased online, taking up to 25.7% of total online spending in Indonesia. Social media marketing role in managing and determining one's brand equity has been recognized on Instagram. Indonesia itself is ranked 4 in the country with the most Instagram users. 90% of its users follow at least one business account. 2 out of 3 users stated that Instagram has increased their chance to interact with the brand, and 50% of the users feel more interest toward a brand when seeing advertisement on Instagram. Therefore, Instagram has potential in building brand equity. Pyra Clay, as a local fashion micro enterprise in Bali, Indonesia, is a relevant business in this topic, as its marketing activities revolve around Instagram with the objectives which are related to its brand equity improvement, from gaining more awareness, to be perceived and associated as a high quality and exclusive brand, and to get loyalty from its customers. However, due to the highly competitive environment of fashion industry, with its rapid growth and dynamic nature, several problems arise that might threaten Pyra Clay's brand. First, Pyra Clay is threatened with the lack of customer awareness due to the domination of competitors in search engine. Second, complaints due to the customer dissatisfaction can be facilitated by social media, which would ease the spread of negative word of mouth about the brand in the platform. Third, with the growing competitors and convenience provided by social media, Pyra Clay is threatened to be replaced by the other brands as consumers are now more exposed to more brands with various deals that the customers may find more relevant to their preference. Therefore, the objective of this study is to evaluate whether there is an impact of Pyra Clay's social media marketing on its brand equity. From the evaluation, the study can provide relevant recommendations that might guide Pyra Clay for its further brand management. Now for the literature review of this study. There are two main theories used for this study. First is social media marketing, which is defined as monitoring and facilitating customers' interaction through digital media to encourage positive brand engagement that lead to commercial value. To assess social media marketing of this study, honeycomb model by Smith is utilized. This model offers 7 dimensions as important forces that represent social media through its use and functionalities. The first dimension is identity, which is the extent of users' identity exposure in social media. Second is presence, which is the extent that social media users can recognize the availability of others. Third is relationship, which is the extent of relatedness and connectedness among social media users. Fourth is reputation, which is the extent users can identify other social standing in social media. Fifth is group dimensions, which is the extent of group formation. But this dimension is not used in this research as it has no relevancy to para-place marketing activities. Sixth is conversation, which is the extent of two-way communication between users. And finally, last dimension is sharing, which is the extent of content trading in social media. Second theory is brand equity, which is defined as assets and liabilities produced by the brand that determines business value. Across consumer-based brand equity theory is used to assess brand equity of this study. It is based on perspective that brand is meaningless if it has no value to consumers. The first dimension of CBBE is brand awareness, which is the extent of recognition towards a brand. Second is brand associations, which represents the feelings and thoughts people have when faced with a brand. Third is perceived quality, which is the extent that the brand is expected or known to deliver good quality. And last dimension is brand loyalty, which is the extent of customers' loyalty toward a brand. This is the conceptual framework of this study, which is based on Keller's four-step CBBE model that connects relationship between social media dimensions and brand equity dimensions. The framework has social media dimensions as independent variables and brand equity dimensions as dependent variables. The first step is to establish brand identity, in which the identity is delivered through conversation and with the objective of brand awareness. The second step is creating brand meaning, or how people associate the brand. In this case, meaningful shared content and strong presence can leave more impact to one's memory. The third step is drawing positive brand response. Perceived quality is a form of consumers' response to a brand based on their judgment and feelings. How well the social standing or reputation one has in social media can determine the brand quality perceived. Last step is forming brand relationship, which is intended to gain intense loyalty from consumers to the brand. Based on the conceptual framework formation with Keller's four-step CBBE model, 8 hypotheses are formed as featured in the slide. Moving on to the methodology of this research. This research adopts quantitative approach to process numerical data. The population chosen is by Barclays followers, while the sample are those who have followed and purchased from Barclays before. The respondents are based on Bulle's theory with minimum of 100 and maximum of 10% of total population. The primary data of this research is based on online-based survey and preliminary interview with virus owner, while the secondary data is internet-based articles and journals to support this research. This research uses simple and multiple linear regression analysis. The first step of data processing is validity and reliability test, then assumption test and hypothesis test. The linear regression models to be tested in the data analysis are as follows. First model is to analyze the impact of identity and conversation on brand awareness. The second model is to analyze the impact of sharing and presence on brand associations. The third model is to analyze the impact of reputation on perceived quality. And the fourth model is to analyze the impact of relationship on brand loyalty. Now, I'm going to explain the result of the data analysis using SPSS generated from 103 respondents. The first step is conducting validity and reliability tests to test data capability and feasibility. Validity tests use corrected item total correlation as R calculated, which should be greater than R table for the measurement to be valid. While reliability tests use Goodman split half that coefficient should be more than 0.8 to be deemed reliable. The result of this test shows that all measurements are valid and reliable. assumption test based on ordinary least square to obtain unbiased estimates. The requirements of OLS are no multicollinearity, no autocorrelation, no heteroscedasticity, and normal distribution. Fortunately, all the data fulfills the requirement of OLS and therefore can be proceeded to the hypothesis testing. The first hypothesis test is adjusted R-squared to identify to what extent independent variables can explain dependent variables. According to some research that involve human behavior, R-squared equals or more than 10% is considered acceptable. All multiple regression models of this research have adjusted R-squared values more than 10%. Therefore, their goodness of fit is acceptable. Next, F-test was conducted to identify whether independent variables have a significant impact on dependent variables. The criteria is for significance to be less than 5% or F calculated greater than F table. Hypothesis 1C, 2C, 3, and 4 are accepted as the result of F-test. However, F-test in multiple linear regression model that has two independent variables only test simultaneous impact. Therefore, t-test was conducted to identify the individual impact of each independent variable in multiple linear regression model. T-test is used to know whether one independent variable still has an impact without the existence of the other independent variable. The criteria are for significance to be smaller than 5% or t calculated more than t table. The result rejected hypothesis 1A, therefore there is no significant impact of identity on brand awareness, but hypothesis 1B, 2A, and 2C are accepted. Finally, to discuss regarding the result and to conclude this study, this study shows that there is an impact of social media marketing on brand equity of viral clay in four major ways. First, identity and conversation simultaneously impact brand awareness, but only conversation can individually impact brand awareness, while identity must be used with conversation to create an impact. Second, sharing and present simultaneously and individually impact brand associations. Then, reputation impacts perceived quality, and relationship impacts brand loyalty. The study agrees with previous study by Babak and Tresna and Wijaya that social media marketing impacts brand equity. However, disagree on individual impact of identity on brand awareness, which provide a new insight and argument in the scope of this study. Based on the result, viral clay is recommended to take social media into account as an important medium in determining and building its brand equity. It is recommended for Spirira to properly manage effective conversation to deliver brand message and identity to increase its awareness. It should be also considering consumers' interest in its shared content and optimally utilize functions offered by Instagram to expose consumers to its content. Then, viral clay is also recommended to be carefully maintaining its image and response in social media to manage its reputation, and to intensify its connection with relevant accounts and consumers. Lastly, recommendation for future research is that future research is offered with many theories of social media and brand equity. So, expanding or using different theories is welcome. Future research is also reminded to only use dimensions of honeycomb model which are relevant to the observed subject, since not all dimensions might be relevant to use. Due to the diversity of fashion industry, future research is also recommended to research other brands or even do comparisons between different brands. Expanding this study is recommended by researching different industry and different platforms of social media. Finally, this study recommends the usage of mixed method approach to generate more reliable results. That is all for my presentation. If you still have any inquiries, you are welcome to contact me through my email. Thank you very much for your attention and time. I hope you have a good day.